Welcome back, folks. Today's video is going to be a tiny bit different today because, well, we're outside as you can see, and well, the reason for that is there's construction going on in the arena, and with all the saws, the skid steer, and hammering, and well, with all the noises, it just wouldn't be real good for doing a video. But I got to do one because we need to do one. But I don't control that stuff because I'm just a boarder here, like everybody else. Excuse me, sir. I didn't say you could eat my coat. He's actually been pretty good lately, and on the rare occasion he does get his mouth on me. Actually, he hasn't been too bad. So, I got this guy here for a reason, and because I want to talk a little bit about his progress and, well, a little bit about the mistakes I made, because I made some mistakes. I made lots of mistakes with this guy, actually. But I learned from them, and that's kind of the whole point of things, is making mistakes is okay as long as you learn from them. And in spite of the fact there's actually construction going on in the arena today, we actually just had him in there. We just had a little session in there because, well, something I've said many times is, if it's not broke, you can't fix it. So I needed to see how he was going to react with lots of distractions. Skid steer in there. There was the saw, there was hammering, and a bunch of people running around carrying long pieces of lumber and all kinds of stuff. And all of these things got him a little bit distracted. And one of the things that we're attempting to do in his training is getting him focused on me, and so that he's more likely to respond to my cues. Because one of the things that I have noticed when he just doesn't feel like doing something, some of the time it's not that he doesn't feel like doing it so much, it's just that he doesn't realize I'm asking him to do it because he's distracted. So that's one of the many things that we're working on, and like I said, you can't fix it if it ain't broke. So working in the arena today with all the commotion going on in there and all the noises and activities was actually a very good thing. A lot of people think I'm crazy wanting to do that, but no, that kind of stuff actually is very helpful. In fact, anytime I'm in there working with a horse, most people are actually quite polite, and they will say, well, is it okay if I come in there while you're working with a horse? And I'm like, hey, no problem, come on in. The more the merrier. The more distractions, the better. I love distractions, I really do. I know it sounds crazy, but no, I like distractions. I don't care if it's windy, or if there's lots of activities, or vehicles driving by, or whatever it is. And, well, actually right now you just saw one drive by on the road in the background there. And those things are all great. But, okay, we worked in the arena. We're out here because of the construction in the arena, but we also did work in the arena because of the construction in there, because it was great. But I want to go back to all the things that I did wrong, because, hey, we all make mistakes, but we learn from them. That's the key. You learn from them. And I just can't believe it. I mentioned that I was the mistake, and what I did wrong was something that I already knew better than to do, is I just simply got in too much of a hurry. Now, if you watch the very first video with this guy, I was getting pretty firm with him. He got the occasional bop in the nose when his nose got on me. I was yanking on the lead. I was using my flag to back him up. And I was being fairly aggressive. And that was absolutely necessary. And in fact, even today I had to get a little bit aggressive with him because of all the distractions that were going on. I had to actually step things up a little to make sure that he was paying attention to me. So there is a time and place for that stuff, but I made the mistake of not dialing it back appropriately. And that was the mistake. And for the most part, everything that we're doing with this guy that is producing results is exactly what I've done with every other horse. The only difference being that, well, at the moment anyhow, there's a few things that maybe we have to dial up every once in a while, but for the most part, it's just exactly the same as anything we do with any other horse, except maybe a tiny bit slower. And the mistake I was making is trying to get results quickly. And that's a mistake that a lot of people make. And I know I've watched it, I watch a lot of videos of some excellent horsemen. And I do mean excellent horsemen, don't get me wrong. These guys know their stuff. I'd really like to see him work with a horse like this, though. But it would be a challenge, absolutely, because these guys, I see videos that are like 1 or 2 hours long, where they do an entire training session with a horse. They go to somebody's place or their boarding facility or whatever, and work with the horse to help it with a problem, and within a couple hours, they've got it solved. Well, now that is possible. I'm not saying that there's nothing hokey there. What they're doing and what they're showing you, absolutely legit, 100%. But some horses you just can't do stuff like that with, and this one being a perfect example, we've got to take our time. Now, some days our progress is pretty darn slow, not very much, but we always do make a tiny bit of progress. And considering that we're actually working on maybe 10 different things at once with them, that's not so bad. If we can make a tiny bit of progress with even a few of them, I'm pretty happy about that. And this is the kind of thing that I want to, try and explain to you that you need to do, is be willing to dial things back and take your time, not get in a hurry, because sometimes it just takes a while. And that's it. That's all there is to it. It just takes a while. And I've said this many times, the most important thing you can do is just take your time, and just spend time with the horse. You don't always have to be trying to accomplish a whole heck of a lot either. Sometimes just hanging out with them and brushing them and telling him he's a good boy or whatever can accomplish an awful lot. And I've done a couple of videos on that subject where, what seems like you're doing nothing is actually accomplishing quite a bit. But anyhow, I just wanted to talk about the mistakes I made with this one. Is I didn't dial it back when I should have. Getting assertive with them was absolutely necessary, and occasionally still is. I'll have to, say, but that's the kind of thing that you got to get the hang of, figuring out when it's time to be firm and when it's time to back off a little. There is no one way of doing things, and you have to kind of go by the situation and figure out, well, what you have to do at that particular moment. It's not always the same thing every time, and even from one day to the next, what we have to do with them can vary a little bit too. So I just thought I'd share that one with you. This was not at all the plan I had for today's video, but it was something I needed to talk about anyhow. I made mistakes, and well, I just explained what they were. And you're probably going to make the same mistake too. I don't have any doubt about that. But you're going to have to figure it out that, sometimes you're just going to have to dial it back a bit. And you're going to figure out, gradually, you're going to figure out when you got to get firm, when you got to back off a little. And that's all part of horsemanship, is just reading the horse, getting to know the nature of the horse in general, and the nature of the individual one you're working with, so you know what you have to do to make things work. So, there you go. I messed up, but not horribly, and nothing that can't be fixed. We're still making progress, so I guess it wasn't all that bad, eh? And, well, I get to share it with you, because some of you are probably thinking, because I do videos, I know what I'm doing. Nope, not really. I'm just like you. I've got to figure it out as I go. And that's what every one of you are going to have to do, and I don't care how good you are. Everybody that plays with horses, you got to figure it out as you go, because they're living beings, they're dynamic, they're ever-changing, and no two are alike, just like people. Have a good day.